Experience!
I'm Pat Mayo with your fantasy football update for October 3rd, plus a Thursday night football preview. Jumping into that, the spread has remained the same. It is Atlanta favored by 1.5 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Atlanta with a 43.5 point total in this game. Right now, in terms of injuries, Bijan been limited in practice with a hamstring injury. He's going to be good to go. I did bump him down in the rankings a little bit, just outside the top 10 in case we do see him somewhat limited in the amount of carries that he gets. We saw that a week ago when Tyler Algier was splitting on the ground with him, although Bijan was still very effective through the air as Atlanta was playing comeback a lot against the Chiefs. But just as a word of caution, you're not going to bench him, but maybe there's a chance that you have a few better options that you had snagged off the waiver wire. Someone like Chuba Hubbard, for example, I would go over Bijan this week with the game flow expectations and the opportunity, especially near the goal line. But there's only a few of them in there. If you want to find the entire updated rankings and full injury list, hit the description right now and you'll find the link to the week 5 rankings. And I did the full breakdown show on Mayo Media Network already on Wednesday, and you can check out why I have certain guys ranked in certain positions. The other one is Ray McLeod. He's going to be good to go. But on the other side, 2 receivers for the Bucs are going to be out. Trey Palmer is going to miss this game with a concussion. Additionally, Jalen McMillan is out with a hamstring injury, which means that Sterling Shepard gets elevated to the primary third receiver behind Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Probably wouldn't do much with Sterling Shepard, but in terms of DraftKings showdown, he could be someone that you take a look at. He might be higher on the pecking order than Cade Otton in the receiving game right now. For tonight's game, the underdog picks, which you want to go with, I have Baker over 10.5 rushing yards, and then Ray McLeod over 34.5 receiving yards. Now, if you are a new customer, you don't have Underdog as of right now. If you use code Mayo at Underdog, not only can you use those 2 free picks, not only will you get a deposit bonus of up to $1,000, you will unlock a Kirk Cousins free pick for the game. So you take Ray McLeod, you take Baker Mayfield, you add the free pick of Kirk Cousins over 0.5 total yards, and you got 6-1 on your hands, depending on what you want to put in. So use your bonus on that, win 6 times your money, fill up your bank account. Code Mayo at Underdog right now, if that's what you want to get into. Running back updates I got on the go. Brian Robinson did not practice on Wednesday with a knee injury. We're going to monitor him for the rest of the week. Austin Eckler is limited in practice coming off that concussion. Now, if one of those 2 was to miss the game, there would be a limited value for Jeremy McNichols. As we saw a week ago, the Browns defense, obviously a little bit better than Arizona's, but not as good as you think. Right now, they're 21st in defensive DVOA. So it's not like they're going up against an elite unit like we saw the Browns last season. Myles Garrett's still pretty banged up on the Brown side of the ball as well. So expect the Washington offense to continue to roll, and you're going to want to start Brian Robinson if he plays. If not, you'll want to start Eckler, and then you'll have Jeremy McNichols as a very fringe flex play in deeper leagues. Devin Singletary did not practice as well with a groin injury. There is optimism that he is going to play. Tyrone Tracy would step into that spot as 6-point underdogs against Seattle. More on him throughout the course of the week. Travis Etienne has a shoulder injury. Maybe that's why he wasn't in on the first 2 series a week ago. This week, as favorites at home against Indianapolis, you think he's a top 15-ish running back. If he can't go, you'll want to play Tank Bigsby in this role. He would probably emerge as a top 12 running back for the week. Like, Etienne is down because of the injury. There were concerns about whether or not he's touching the ball or not, and Bigsby's eating into that. If there was no Etienne, expect Bigsby to get around 80% of the touches against a pretty weak Colts run defense. So Bigsby would be a huge gainer if he's still available. You might want to pick him up as Etienne insurance, or if you're just desperate for a running back to play, pray Etienne doesn't go. I think he does go, but if he doesn't, you'll want to play Tank Bigsby in that spot. The other one to watch out for is Zamir White. This week against the Broncos, he got injured at practice on Wednesday with a groin injury. There was already speculation that Alexander Mattison would be taking over more of the workload than he had been getting. We've already seen Mattison effective in the receiving game and near the goal line. Well, effective in the sense that he's doing better than Zamir White, which is all of the rest of the NFL. You didn't really want to start Zamir White anyway, but Mattison would become a fringe top 20 running back option this week. I'd like him more than the guy on the other side of the ball, Javonte Williams, if Zamir White White was out. If Zamir White isn't out and does end up playing, I would still like Javonte more in that situation. 2 receivers to be looking at right now. Officially out, we have Brendan Cooks. He's going to miss 1 to 4 weeks with an infection following knee surgery. It's not great. Jalen Tolbert gets a bump up. Obviously, you're playing CeeDee Lamb. You're playing Jake Ferguson. I don't know if I'd play Tolbert against the Steelers on Sunday Night Football, but in the face of other desperate options, he's someone who's going to be on the field almost 100% of the time, which is not something you can say for most guys you can pick up off the wide receiver waiver wire at the moment. Devontae Adams is going to be out with his hamstring or contract, whatever it might be. Jacoby Myers, I have ranked the highest of the Raiders receiver, which is just inside the top 40 at receiver. Trey Tucker is a little bit after that. It's a tough matchup against this very solid Broncos secondary. At tight end, good news. Trey McBride, David Njoku, and Evan Engram all returned to practice in a limited capacity on Wednesday. McBride is more than likely good to go. We'll see with Engram and Njoku as they ramp up throughout, but right now I'm going to insert them back in to the rankings. I broke this down on the ranking show, but Engram becomes a top 10 tight end option. Njoku is going to be just outside of that because it's really difficult to make a case for anyone on the Browns to be top end at any of their positions when Deshaun Watson is throwing the ball. I know it's a great matchup against a very porous Washington defense who will likely be facing a ton of passing attempts. Washington's actually a very sneaky DST this week. Although their defense in real life sucks, they might just get ample opportunity to go tee off on Deshaun, which is, if the Raiders were able to sustain a very good fantasy week against them a week ago, Washington could do that this time. It'd be hard to trust Njoku coming back off this high ankle sprain, but it does seem like he's taken enough time that the risk of re-injury wouldn't be there. TJ Hawkinson's practice window has opened as well, as has Odell Beckham's. We have Nick Chubb returning sometime soon, maybe next week, maybe the week after. Not the same for Jonathan Brooks. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has returned to practice as well for the Chiefs. Just another name to throw into that now quad of running backs that could end up lining up behind Patrick Mahomes some of the time. Maybe as a spec pickup, you go with him, but I wouldn't trust him by any means. When he was the lead, you could barely play him. As one of 4 guys in this backfield, he's probably not the best fantasy option. The biggest news, though, that we saw coming out of Wednesday into the week is going to be Malik Nabers. There was optimism that he would play with his concussion because it happened on Thursday Night Football a week ago, but he did not practice, thus putting him behind the concussion protocol. That is a late game on Sunday, so you might have to wait anyway, but right now the optimism is that he is going to be out. I have taken him out of the rankings. I actually bumped down Wendell Robinson as well from 18 down to 26 as the best receivers of the week, and bumped up Darius Slayton a little bit. Maybe Jalen Hyatt gets into the mix, but without Malik Nabers to draw all that coverage, it just doesn't sound great for any of the Giants receivers. Daniel Jones has taken a drop in the rankings as well, from number 12 all the way down to number 19. Without that one option that the entire offense runs through, I don't see a lot of upside for any of the Giants this week. Again, code Mayo at Underdog unlocks that Kirk Cousins free pick for Thursday Night Football. Additionally, all the rankings and injury report are updated right now down in the description. Hit the Mayo Media Substack link, and you'll find it all right there. I'll be back on Friday and then on Saturday, so I'll see you then.
Mayo Experience! Experience!